Game time? All right, great people. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. My name is Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, and as usual, I have the smoothie making, the choreography if that's a word, the Afro-Latino vibe shaking. What's your name, girl? Go ahead and introduce yourself to the wonderful folks.
What's up, party people? My name is Sinclair, aka
The
Health Nerd. And here another Sunday evening, ready to just talk.
All right, we're just gonna talk it out. As y'all know, we are doing a nice, new, engaging format. Shout out to D Vern for the feedback and for all the folks that are giving us feedback on our podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, True Health, 4ever. Also our website, True Health, 4ever. Give us some comments. We do listen to the feedback. But today we're going to be talking about equity and consistency. Let's get into it. Alright, so first of all, just so y'all know, I don't know if you can see it in our faces, but we tired today. Alright, it's been a long day. We've been grinding all day, but we have said at the beginning of this new series, this new pilot, that we want to do a podcast every single week, and we are doing our best to make sure we stay true to that. So we hope y'all are appreciating the nuggets that we're coming to you every single week. But first, before we get into the actual equity piece, which is going to build very nicely off of the vision, y'all see, we're going to try to give you some nice bricks to be stacking on. But Queen, what have you done today or just this week? I want folks to get a real sense of like what our weekends, our grinding weekends really look like. So I don't know if you want to go over the entire week or just specifically like what did today look like for the health nerd?
Today, we woke up.
Thank God we did.
Yes,
appreciate it.
We did first I had to do the research for 2 smoothie recipes. So I've created the recipes, they're done. The next part is doing the research, because as part of the smoothie recipe book, I want to include, these are why these ingredients have been chosen for this specific recipe. So obviously that requires research. So I woke up, did a few hours of research for the 2 recipes that we shot videos for. Then we shot those 2 videos. And then I took the pictures for the videos. Then I started on my homework for my MBA program, which is a website development class. So I'm coding a website for actually a business that we have started. But yeah, I'm coding a website as an assignment, as part of the assignment. So yeah, I was coding and doing quizzes and projects. Yeah, literally just submitted my quiz like 4 minutes ago. And now we're doing this podcast, so.
Grinding. And then we also did a Make Real Estate Real course.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
So in addition to her MBA stuff, we're also trying to increase our real estate portfolio. So Jamal King, who's a part of the ETA team, if y'all know Eric Thomas, y'all know CJ Carl, he's a part of that squad now. So he has his own Make Real Estate Real platform, and you can pay, I think it's like $1,000, and then you now have access to this course. So that's what the Queen was doing. Give y'all a little sneak peek into what my weekend looks like, and trying to, this does have a point, I'm pretty sure, to it.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure. This does have a point to it, all right? So we want to make sure that y'all understand like what we do on our weekends. I know y'all are grinding. I know y'all are doing the same. Would love to hear some of the wonderful things y'all are doing on the weekend. But you do have to grind on the weekends outside of your 9 to 5 to have that freedom, to have that life that you want to live, whether it's 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So what my Sunday morning looked like was woke up. Again, thanks. Shout out to the ancestors. Shout out to the universal power for waking me up this morning with purpose, with energy, and with motivation to do better. So I woke up. I did some Play Black Wall Street Academy work. As y'all know, I do have Play Black Wall Street Academy every Sunday, so making sure that all my ducks in line for that. How to do some course editing, or not course editing, some assignment grading. So I was reading some budgets from the little kiddos, which was cute. Yeah, it was cute. Some kids, they made their budget for them right now. So they're like, oh, I make $100 a month washing cars. I was like, okay, I see you. Little 12-year-old making your dollars. I respect it.
That's a lot of money, too, for a 12-year-old.
Right. $100 a month. It was actually $150 a month washing cars. They have an emergency fund for $30 a month. They had their entertainment at $40 a month. So it was just cool seeing, how little kids make their budget. And then other more, not grown, but they're 16, 17. And even my little sister who's in the class, she made her budget based on 20 years from now, which is what the assignment was. And in her 20 years from now vision, she was living in France.
Wow.
Which was dope. So it's she had her apartment. It was in euros. Because it was in France, I was like, okay, I see you, little sister. So I gave her a shout out. Right. So that was my morning. It was fun. What else did I do? Did the videos we did for one of the other companies we're trying to build. I had to talk with the engineer, talk with our expert who's building that up. Did Play Black Wall Street Academy, actually the course or the live stream. Immediately right after the live stream, did another Instagram live with Cents 2 Cents. It's another board game out there on financial literacy. So again, it's getting the word out about Black Wall Street, the board game, and what we're doing, what we're trying to build, and trying to meet other people that are doing the same. And then right after that, came back out with the Queen to do the Make Real Estate Real. So that's what our Sunday looks like. Now, how this incorporates into equity, y'all. And one of our guest speakers on Play Black Wall Street talked about this today. It's not when you're investing inside the stock market, when you're investing inside yourself, it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. So what that means is equity. Think of yourself as a economy. Think of yourself as a stock, all right? Devon Walker. And this is actually why I changed my Instagram handle 3 years ago at this point. My Instagram handle is now Invest in Devon Walker, because I wanted to start doing actions, behaviors, education, things that invest in my own stock to increase my own personal equity, right? So when you think about the things that you're doing, how is it that the actions that you're doing, the money that you're putting into yourself, the education, getting your MBA, doing Make Real Estate Real courses, how does this increase your own personal equity? Right? So Queen, can you tell folks, Queen, Sinclair, Health Nerd, you got so many names and they're all so cool. Yeah. Nita, you're so cool, right?
Yes, I try.
Man, do you really try, or does it just happen?
Sometimes I try. But usually when I try, then I'm not cool.
It's not popping when you try, to be honest with you. Naturally, you're a cool person. As soon as you try, it's all right, yep, she's a nerd. Forgot about that. Hey man, be proud, Health Nerd. So, in your opinion, what are things that you have done? I mean, they're very obvious in my head, but I want to know what you think. What are things that you have done in the last 2-3 years to increase the value of who Sinclair is and what Sinclair has to offer to the universe?
Well, the first one that comes to mind, especially because it's fresh, is my MBA. Getting the MBA was a choice that I made, not just to, and for multiple reasons, right? To expand for, like you said, what I have to offer. So now saying that I have an MBA, naturally people just, I don't know what it is about titles, but sometimes you slap a title on and people just trust you more. So knowing that we both wanting to start all these businesses, I figured having an MBA would kind of increase my credibility just as a business owner, but also to learn the business aspect. I feel like my background is in engineering, so I know how to think about problems and how to approach problems, but kind of the actual knowledge of how to run a business. This is my first time running a business. I'm not like the little gurus that he's grooming up.
Yeah, little 12, 13-year-olds out there already starting.
And didn't you have a kindergartner that started their bow tie business?
Yep.
Like,
shout out to
changing people. But yeah, that was not me. So this is my first. True Health Forever was the first business that I had owned. So I really wanted to make sure that with this being kind of hopefully what's going to really set us up for the future that we want to have. I wanted to make sure that he's already very business minded. So basically I wanted to be able to make sure that I could keep up, that I could actually, provide some value, provide some knowledge behind, and like the more on the books part. So when I say he's very business minded and he naturally kind of just knows all right, no, this is what you should do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, whatever. Don't get too big. But I wanted to, right, we want to complement each other. So since he kind of already has that natural ability, now I will have kind of the book knowledge to go along with it on actually that's called this. You already know that that's what we should do somehow because you just, that, great.
Yeah,
but
you put a definition on it.
That's what this is called and this is why we're doing this and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, that's one of the things. I feel like there's I don't know how big or small to go, but knowing that being a health coach and creating health programs and being just a health expert is something that I want to strive towards. I've started to listen to podcasts and read books and make that a part of my just daily routine. So when I do go to work, every single day that I am going to the office, I say that now because it's only about 2 days out of the week because of COVID, but I am listening to a podcast on the way there or a audiobook on the way there and on the way back. So that's about 45 minutes to an hour.
Knowledge absorption.
And I that was a suggestion you gave me a long time ago that I did not listen to until a year ago or whatever. But yeah, just the amount of time that you're spending in the car. I used to just play the radio, and that was cool because I'm a choreographer too, so I would be dancing in my head or whatever. But
that sounds safe.
Always. But yeah, I feel like you really utilizing that time to learn has been a game changer at just being more efficient with my time. And yeah, it's just what else are you gonna do besides look at the road? So being able to listen and think about things and talk to myself sometimes, not gonna lie. It's been helpful. Yeah.
I think talking to yourself is 100% healthy. I do it actively. All right. So as long as you know that you are talking to yourself, I think is the key. If you think you're talking to someone else, then it might be unhealthy and you should definitely contact a professional. But if you know you're talking to yourself, I think it's solid. Two reasons why I definitely, on my commutes, I stopped listening to the radio is one, the frequency of the radio, the hertz level of the radio is actually harmful for your body. So the frequency at which it does, and I forget exactly what it is, 9.61 or 9.63, whatever the hertz is, it disrupts the cells of your body. So it's not healthy for you to listen to that frequency. Secondly, I was driving back when we lived in PH and I worked in LA. I was driving hour and a half. Sometimes if the universe was not on my side, it was a 2-hour commute. So I was like, okay, what can I do in these 2 hours that can best prepare my future self for success? So I started listening to podcasts and audiobooks. And another trick that I did, and this was when we actually moved here, was y'all can do, if you're an author, you want to create some type of podcast, you want to create a book, you want to create recipe books, whatever it is, you can use your phone to record your voice and then have that voice be transcribed into a document. So that's how I wrote. And I didn't publish a lot of these books yet, but I've written 3 books just by talking those books out and then having those transcribed. And then I go back, I edit it. If Google or my phone made a mistake in the transcription, and then really quickly, within like a week, you can have a 15 to 40 page book just from talking. So that's another thing to maybe look into if you are an author, if you're a creator. And for me, when I sit down to like typewrite, the creativity doesn't flow. But as y'all can tell,
you're a talker.
Boy, can I talk? You know, when I talk, it just comes out naturally. So if I can speak a book, I can produce books way more quickly. Hopefully that was grammatically correct than if I type or physically write books. So that's another way. So definitely utilize your time and your commute to pour in and invest equity into yourself somehow. So whether it's a health podcast, I listen to a whole bunch of business podcasts now, whether it's motivation and mindset podcasts, like listen to stuff that's going to up your stock value a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Anything you want to sprinkle on that, Queen?
No, thank you. Yeah, nailed it.
I nailed it.
What are some things that you've done in the past couple of years to increase your equity?
Okay, so I think one is rapid fire starting businesses or launching ideas. So I think I've tried to get into grad school, but I'm not the genius that this queen is, so I haven't been able to get into yet. It's gonna happen eventually though, manifest. I'm gonna get in either an MBA program or I'm gonna get my PhD. Best believe that. Y'all heard that right here, episode 13. What's up? But other ways that I've done it is if you're not gonna learn by books, learn by experience. So True Health Forever, we'll be able to launch that, and it's definitely been a growing experience. We've done a few pivots, and even like a few days ago, we thought of another way to pivot the idea even more. So I feel like just the experience of actually being a business owner and entrepreneur is definitely equity for myself, because I want to be a business coach one day. I want to have $1 million businesses one day. So the more that I practice that, the better I'll be. Play Black Wall Street is obviously a separate kind of business. It's a branch off of True Health Forever. How we're functioning or how we're operating it is like as a separate business. That's been a great practice for me. Other ways that I've poured in is reading. The queen knows. I used to demise reading. Yes. I did not like reading at all during college, and my grades, I'm not gonna lie, my grades probably show it, and that's probably why now I'm suffering from trying to get into grad school. But recently, within the last 2-3 years, I've learned that I like to read when I can directly apply that knowledge to myself. So like reading books like Think and Grow Rich, reading books like Powernomics by Claude Anderson, where it's teaching you how to use economics and use the power of money to empower the Black community specifically. Start With Your Why by Simon. I can't pronounce his last name, but I was able to directly use the Start Your Why to then translate that to our businesses that we're using or that we're building. So I like reading as long as I can take that reading knowledge and then apply it. So I think that's where a lot of the good ideas and the pivots that I come up with are like from reading. Like right now I'm reading the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. Pretty dope book. Yeah. Pretty dope book. Let's see what else. And then lastly, I think health, like being committed to my health and listening to your weird nuggets like, oh, you should eat chia pudding, or oh, you should put flaxseed. I feel like 5 years ago I would be like, I'm not putting flax seeds. That's weird. But now I'm just like, I'm using that stuff and it's making me feel healthier. And obviously the longer or the more that I take care of my body, the longer I'm gonna live. So the more equity, again, time in, the more equity I can build because I'm living longer. So I think those are my 3. Yes, ma'am?
Look past the fact that you call my nuggets weird.
Sometimes I look at your nuggets and I'm just like, that's weird. You know? I'm just like, I would have never thought. Okay, that's cool. I use them to my advantage, so,
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Rochelle!
Oh, stop.
Oh, man, shout out to Rochelle. Hopefully listening. Let's see. But yeah, that's how I'm kind of investing in myself. So hopefully y'all are, again, taking action, whether it's deciding to commit to your health, whether it's driving and you're listening to podcasts, listening to books. somehow make sure every day you are investing inside of your own mutual fund, investing inside the own stock that is yourself. Sadly, I'm gonna do a Black History rant pivot. Y'all know, if you listen to this podcast or watch it on YouTube, Drew Up Forever TV, like and subscribe, we appreciate you. But y'all know every episode there's some type of rant hosted by myself, truly. Yeah. Anyway, the original stock market in New York was sadly a slave stock market. So stock was it was a person, and when you buy that stock, you were buying that person. So I want to, try to turn that back now that we have hopefully way more freedom than way back then. Not as much as we need to, but we have more freedom and we're able to have more control over our bodies. You can still see yourself as that stock. Still see yourself as that company, and you want your own personal stock to be as valuable as possible because now you are in control of your own wealth. Your family is now your own asset, or the asset of your wife, the asset of your husband, the asset of your unborn kids, and you're going to pass down that wealth to them. So you want to pour into your own stock. You want to invest in yourself as much as possible. That way you are creating wealth for yourself and for your family. So that was a short rant. That was cool.
That was just like a nugget. That was really a rant.
Thank you very much. So I'm gonna transition a little bit. Is that okay with you, Queen? Can I transition?
Where are we going?
Oh, you gonna ask questions? You ask.
I was gonna say something on equity, but if you're transitioning, I don't know if it fit within your transition or not.
I'm transitioning to, if you're building equity, if you know in 20 years you're gonna be worth $10 million, or you're going to be the #1 health coach in the community, how does that impact what you do today? That's the transition that I'm about to make.
Go ahead, make it. You already there.
Yeah, my foot's already in, so we're just going to jump all the way in. So, how does your guaranteed success in the future change what you do today? And this is a message kind of I picked up from Gary Vee, if y'all follow him. Cool dude. He's also a little weird. But I think it's still impactful. And in my head, weird isn't a bad thing. Weird is just like, notice, like, oh, okay, that's different, which is perfectly fine. I'm weird. You about to say at the same time? Oh, hopefully y'all heard and picked that up. That was cute. So, for, again, prime example, when Sinclair, the health nerd, becomes the #1 health coach in the world, do y'all understand how valuable these early podcast videos and episodes are going to be? Like, think of, again, Sean Stevenson, who is one of the top 10. I don't know what his exact rank are, but I would say he's probably top 10 health coaches.
He's the #1 health podcast on Apple.
Oh, okay. Huge feat right there. So imagine listening or being able to watch Sean Stevenson, that's his name, right?
Yes.
Okay. While he was growing. Before he got his health certificate, before he became who he is right now, imagine being able to watch the videos and watch his progression. Like, those videos would be worth a lot of money. Even now, like after Nipsey Hussle passed away, I'm seeing tons of videos and nuggets of Nipsey Hussle when people like weren't even huge fans of Nipsey Hussle, but then he passed away, and now all his stuff becomes even more valuable because of who he was when he ended. So just equity-wise, again, think of, if you know 20 years from now, Black Wall Street, the board game, is going to be the #1 selling black board game in the world. Think of the signatures that I've given to folks on board games, the signatures on Black Future Month, the book, like those signatures now become worth so much more money. So that's why even today, like, people ask me to sign, like, I used to feel like it was weird. Like, why do you want me to sign? Like, what? But now I'm just like, oh yeah, let me sign. This will be worth some money someday, because I now have a vision on where I want to be in the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years. And me signing something today could be worth some change down the line. How you feel about that, Queen?
I think that's important to keep in mind, to have a vision of, like, what's the, I don't want to say the final destination, because I feel like it's always a journey, but kind of, like you said, 20, 30 years down the road, where do you want to be and act like you are going to be that person today. So like he said, like if he didn't believe that the Black Wall Street, the board game was going to be the number one black board game in the country, in the world, then he would probably be like, I'm not going to sign that, I'm just Devon or whatever, but the fact that he knows that is the reason why he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to sign it. So I feel like if you act accordingly, you will be setting yourself up for success. And that kind of ties into what I was going to say about
there
equity.
you go. Bring it back. I see you.
Is that you have to keep that in mind during those hard times. During those times when it's like, I'm not today. I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling...
AKA today.
Look.
Okay, be real. Be real.
It was like, I don't know. I don't really know if this podcast is going to be, all of it right now. Because I'm tired. But it was like, no, like you said, we said we're going to do one every week. We're in it now. Like, the groove is going. I feel like my energy's back up. But on those days, that's when you need to really remember that vision. Because it's on those days where it's very easy to be like, I'll pick it up tomorrow. One day is not going to hurt.
Right.
If you say that once, you're going to say it again, and then you're going to say it again, and then you're going to say it again, and then you're going to lose that momentum. Right. So I think that, like he said, like the stock market, right? It's easy to know that you want your money to grow and that you're going to be however rich if you're putting your money in on it. I'm not a stock person at all, so please don't make fun of me. However often you put in money to the stock market, it's a daily whatever. If you're putting in every day and the market crashes, you're going to be like, well, why am I doing this, in the first place? And then you might take it all out. And then you're going to lose the opportunity for when it goes back up. You're going to lose that because you've given up. So it's the same thing with your own equity, right? Even those days when it's like, I don't feel like it today, keep in mind that you have that end vision and that you still need to put that money in. You still need to invest because there is going to be an uptick again. It is going to increase again. You just have to be patient. You have to continue to put that money in figuratively.
Right, and a parallel analogy that I want to also give, because it's in my head, so I gotta get rid of it. Just y'all know me. If I have a thought, I need to get rid of it. But same line. If you're investing into the stock market and you have your projections, right? So you meet with your financial advisor, and they say if you invest $10 every single day into this stock, you will get this much 30 years from now via compound interest. The point is you need to invest that $10 every single day in order to get that projection that your financial analyst gave you. If you miss even one day, that projection is no longer accurate because one day missed in a compound interest scenario, you may have lost $100 or $1,000. So think of, again, your end goal being the number one board game in the world, being the number one health coach in the world, being the number one app, whatever it is that you're trying to get. Think of your actions and every promise that you make, every habit, every commitment that you make as those deposits, all right? And those deposits will reap you compound interest. Because if you keep doing a podcast every single week, every single month, every single year, at the end of this year, how many weeks are there? 52? 52 weeks. So if we do an episode every single day, a year from now, we're going to have 52 podcast episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. We're going to have 52 different YouTube videos online. Now when people search health podcasts, when people search Black health podcasts, ours might continue to rise. Every single year that we do it, that's 52 more. So think of the compound effect, especially when you're searching on the internet, of that action, of that deposit. So again, stick to it, y'all. If y'all get tired, like the Queen said, have that end goal in mind because your actions, your habits will pay off in the long run. I feel like I had another equity thing. Oh, again, so if you know you're going to be successful, this is what I love to do. A lot of people feel like I'm annoying when I do this. But to be honest, I don't care. You need to record and film the process. I love doing this. Whenever we travel, I'm recording. Whenever the Queen's making smoothies, like she just made one of her first smoothies, I'm recording. So it's like all that is documentation of the process. And when you become the queen, well, you're already the queen, but when you become the queen, the health nerd queen, whatever it is, now all that documentation becomes so valuable because of who you become. Prime, perfect example. I almost cussed, my apologies. The Michael Jordan Last Dance documentary. When they were making that, they had no idea that Michael Jordan was going to be the best, if not one of the best basketball players to ever play and live the game, and one of the wealthiest black men to ever live, right? They didn't know he was going to be that person. They were just documenting the series, they were interviewing him, collecting all this stuff, and they're like, one day we're going to use this. Now that is one of the most popular documentaries right now, especially in the sporting world. Entrepreneurs are looking to that for motivation because of who Michael Jordan became. But if the camera crew, if the producer, whoever decided to actually record that stuff 30 years ago didn't see who Michael Jordan was going to become, they would have never captured that, and we wouldn't be able to reap the benefits today of those moments, of that progress. So that's why personally, I love recording videos. I love recording moments. Like we had I'm getting into a rant, my apologies. I'm going to stop after this moment. But we had a custom wedding painting done of us. And I feel like that painting, we're going to be able to insure that painting. We're going to be able to, I don't know what it's called when you get appraised. There you go. We're going to be able to appraise that painting and pass that painting on to our kids and capture that beautiful, amazing moment that we got married on the boat. And then if we are Jay-Z and Beyonce type power couple, or when we are that entrepreneurial power couple, health and economics, that painting is going to be worth some money. And then the fact that our kids can have that in their assets, be like, this painting my mom and dad, remember? I think it's cool.
It is really cool.
So I'm going to stop ranting. Yeah, go ahead, Quinn. Do your thing.
Oh, she said it's a beautiful painting.
'Twas. Beautiful people in the painting, too. Mostly her. But, I held my own that day. That day I held my own, Thank you. Okay. Y'all have seen some lovey-dovey. That means it's time for the episode to wrap up. You heard me? So, nuggets, or actually one takeaway, Queen. If you can give folks one takeaway, and I can go first if you need to buffer a little bit. But we definitely always want to make sure we're giving y'all actionable steps, things that you can actually start doing immediately after this podcast. So, for me, I would say one. I'm gonna do two because one I feel like is a repeat that we've said in a different podcast. But I'm gonna say it again in case this is your first one for whatever reason. Have a vision, right? So, what is it that you want to see yourself as 30 years from now and 20 years from now? And then second, I need you to figure out how every single day, and this is motivation kind of from Nipsey, every single day, how can you lay a brick towards where you're going to go, all right? So, follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road, follow the road. All right, so how is it every day you are laying a brick either on a road to the path that you want to go, or you're laying a brick, a part of a building, a part of your castle. Every single day, how are you laying a brick that's making steps towards where you want to be? That's what I got. Queen, hit them with it. What up?
Okay, super tangible. Get an index card and write down 5. Well, for me it was 5. Write down.
There's 5 for me too. I feel like we got that from something.
Okay. Write down your 5 top goals.
I think mine's right there. Focus.
Your 5 top goals that you want to accomplish. I mean, I think a time frame is relative. But just whatever you're working on right now, like what's kind of that first notch of success? So like, I don't know if you.
So my 5 are 1, be a good husband / father. Thanks. So that's check. Oh,
well, husband.
Yeah, not father yet. So that's something that's probably gonna be ongoing, and I wanted to make sure that was on the list, so it's always on my mind. 2, buy a house. Check. 3, sell a screenplay. So I've written a screenplay. I've gotten to a finalist in a competition. Haven't sold it yet, but it's on the list. 4, sell 10,000 Black Wall Street the board games. So that's still definitely in progress. And then 5, you all are living in this right now. It's going to be another probably continuous thing, is build a positive media company. And I should have said build a positive Black media company. So making sure that there are always positive images and positive concepts in the content that we're creating through True Health Forever, Play Black Wall Street, and other stuff that we have coming down the pipeline.
So get an index card, write down kind of like what are your top priorities? What do you want to accomplish in the next 10 years? Like I said, the time can be whatever you want it, but write them down on an index card and put it somewhere where you are going to look at it every single day. So the King's are right in front of his desk, that's why he grabbed it. Mine's at my desk. And the reason why that's important is because, as I mentioned, for those hard days, there's got to be something there to remind you why you're in it. So whether that's ideally, I think for the next step for me, and I think for us, I would like for us to do this together, is a vision board, or some type of, it could be a vision binder, whatever you want, but some type of physical vision, a physical manifestation of what you want to accomplish. So that would be this next step. But first, start off small. Just get an index card and write down those 5 things that you want to accomplish. And so, once you accomplish something, great, check it off, cross it off the list, come up with another one. So the idea is that you always have a card of 5 things. Once you accomplish those 5, then you have the next 5. You're continuously going to be growing. But that's a very tangible step that I think you can take right now. Go grab it. If you don't have an index card, start with a piece of paper. Just tear it in a rectangle. And
would you advise to write it down on paper rather than, I feel like most people just put it in their phone?
To each their own. Personally, there isn't the physical act of writing something down is very different than the physical act of typing it. Because the writing out the letters does something to your brain to kind of ingrain it a little further. So I do recommend you write it down. But if you think, like, if that's not something that you look at, like, I'm not going to look at a piece of paper, but I'll look at my phone, then do whatever is going to be what you're going to look at, Gotcha. But for me, writing it, the act of physically writing it down does also help. So yeah, but I'm slightly old school. I like to just, like, write things down in general and then type it out later. But again, if you are a person that just, like, maybe you want to put it on the background of your phone so that you see it there every time. As long as it's not something you're going to get completely numb to, then I would say that that's a good idea.
Boom. Good?
Yep.
All right. So, thank you for tuning in to another beautiful, impactful, hopefully motivational episode of the True Health Forever podcast. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
I'm Sinclair, a.k.a. the Health Nerd.
We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope you stay mentally wealthy. And, of course, make sure you stay true. Peace. That you today are a direct result of your past visions from yesterday and yesteryears.
You always okay, so they're just really nice.
Whoa, why you yelling, bro? Why you yelling? That's why.
The idea is that it's kind of the law of the universe, right? Whatever you put out into the universe and you are committed to it, the universe will bring that to you. You will start to see more signs for it. You'll start to meet more people who will bring you closer to your goal. And your own activities and your own actions will be that of a person who's trying to accomplish that goal. That's how it works. So, and we both
look so beautiful. Queen, you make one marry you.